everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to be looking at the Time of the Clockmen, a very odd underground comic by Bob Hunter from 1971. I've never seen Bob Hunter before. By looking at his art, I kind of can imagine why. It's very primitive, to say the least. As you can tell by this cover, very kind of unappealing cover visually. There's a lot of visuals in this and art in this that is, this guy hasn't done that many comics. But I gotta say, some of the panels are outstanding and pages. Like a broken clock. Some of these pages are like worth the price of admission. But a lot of it's very primitive. And the ideas are really interesting. The writing is pretty fun in this comic and I don't know, just neat. That's the only adjective I can think of right now. So he does all the art in this. Just to give you a flavor of some of the dialogue. He who would reshape the heavens must first get his ass in order. In the land of amnesia, the man who can remember his name is king. And this is billed as a psycho-revolutionary three-eyed comic. There's a lot of white pages in this. Even like all this valuable real estate he could have put other stuff on. It's just wasted. Kind of annoying. So I couldn't find anything about this on the internet. Barely anything. In fact, I only know it's from 1971 because the internet, there's no date on this comic. But it appears to be almost as if these were like 3 mini comics. Because I know some people were doing like early mini comics, even in the early 70s. And, volume 1, number 1, this was the cover of the first issue. And there's 3 chapters in this that seem to be reprints of 3 mini comics. Because they'll even say in like number 2, will say, as we saw in the first issue. So I don't know if it's just an artifice he did, but I do think maybe these were just like little weird comics that he printed up and sold for cheap, and then just collected them in kind of a professional underground comic. It's a Georgia Strait Comics. I believe Georgia Strait was a big like hippie paper in Georgia, if I'm remembering correctly. I mean, years ago I think I read about it. I don't know. This comic's a mystery. Even Comics Joint doesn't have a listing for this. That's the first time that's ever happened, where I found an underground and the Comics Joint webpage doesn't even have this listed. But it's kind of interesting. And, you could tell. Look at this. It's very, it's primitive, as I said. But there's some interesting graphics in here. And some of the writing is kind of fun. Onslaught of the Clockmen, wherein we point out the basic flaw in the ointment, that is, the fly in the basic firmament, the fluke in the peppermint, forget it. So time originally was not of the essence. There was in fact no time, just joy. Kissing, growing, being, love, vision. I kind of like these just crappy abstract images. Timeless was the whole universe. So basically he's describing like there was a time when everything was just, no money, no work, lots of good shit. And we see this little weird looking guy walking towards this eye. So these times were all golden as long as your mind was open. Suffice to say, everyone's was. And we see all these happy freaks here. Just sounds like some hippie paradise, But there was one miserable lot of beings that existed in the other corner of the universe, the Clockmen. We see Popeye, well, blow me, I am a yam. So then our narrator tells us how No one thought to build a wall to keep them out. No one suspected they had a plot, and then, so that little weird plug-looking dude steps on our narrator. And basically all that's left is his eye and the eye stalk. So he continues his story. So the Clockmen plan to take over the universe and bring everything under their control. And there were law and order freaks. He says, as you could guess from the glimpse of them, that's their pure state. Crude, inorganic, geometric shapes floating in space. These guys. He says, wait a sec. Gotta take a pee. It's very odd. And then he says, damn, pissed away my essence. And then, God, this page to me is worth the price of admission. I love this image. He's like, hold it. What the fuck is going on? What am I into? Some kind of ego death scene? So our narrator is going through this whole thing here. He says, Jesus, I got to pull myself together. Man, I love that crazy hand. Some modern art hand. I've got to make something of myself. So he's kind of become this amorphous blob. Kind of he's physically unhinged after that guy stepped on him. And he looks over and he sees man landing on the moon. He says, it's the Clockmen at work, I tell you. So he says the way they did it is the Clockmen sent 2 deadly missiles designed to cripple consciousness. And we see some of these geometric rectangular shapes. These missiles blinded beings to the true nature of nature, forcing them into tiny, tight mental cages, making everyone slaves of the Clockmen. I don't even know what we're looking at here, because these people don't seem like miserable. It doesn't look like, oh, look at these poor slaves of the Clockmen. They're just a bunch of random, freaky cartoon characters. There's like Kool-Aid Man's son or nephew. So now we got volume 1, number 2. I kind of like this crazy primitive logo. Not that slick, but kind of interesting. With the clock being kind of reflected behind it. So we have a synopsis of last issue. We have this funny, almost Abbott and Costello-like interlude with our narrator, still an amorphous blob. He says, I'd like to... Oh, I'm sorry. This caption says, tell it like it is, baby. And our narrator says, I'd like to, but tell you the truth, I'm not ready. Yes, you are. Who the hell said that? What? That he wasn't ready. I said that. Then who said that he was? I did. Then who is he? Who are you? It's just this very silly little exchange. So apparently those 2 missiles that the Clockmen sent were the insidious sundial and the venomous yardstick. And then we see this caption, it was a dark day for the oceanic sense of oneness that normally pervaded all time and space. And our narrator, the amorphous blob, says, wait a sec, I'm the goddamn narrator here. I'll tell the story my way. Okay. Fucking power tripping freak. So now, I guess he looks over and he sees those 2 missiles, the sundial and the ruler, the yardstick, and he becomes even more unhinged. He says, now I'm completely smashed right down, not only to my essence, but to my primal essence. And he's this crazy, weird skeleton figure. So he escapes into his own private head world, his own private psychic universe. There's no competition, no hassles. I am king, and that's all there is to it. It's the kingdom of heaven, right here on earth. So he steps into this dimension. And when he gets inside, he says, hey, what the hell? It's a goddamn void. I always figured there'd be something happening here. But it's nowhere, really. So he's about to turn around and walk out. But back in the objective normal reality, this little impish guy reaches over and peels the little dimensional hole as if it was a decal. And just as our narrator is trying to step out, he's caught in the void. So he says, looks like I got no choice but to explore the void. I don't even know what I'm looking at here. Like, it's this crazy skeleton creature. It's very bizarre. So within the void, his mind expands so much, it looks like his skull explodes. It leaves him in a state of whoosh sin, literally no mind or unself-consciousness. Another absurdist note, editor's note, cartooning is basically a power trip. See what I did to this guy? You're next. This is the total kind of hippie comics I like. It's just, this guy's obviously tripping balls. And it's like funny, and it kind of toys with big ideas, but in a very silly way. So we see what happened when the sundial and the yardstick entered into our dimension, our world, our universe. It basically brought time and space. And men seized upon it as just another tool. And of course, it's just like 2001 when that obelisk lands and the monkeys get a little smart. The first guy who finds it was like, I can gain power now that I can measure both time and space. And what it begets is the Western style civilization. I kind of like this page, just showing all the excesses of our culture. We see these these blockhead salarymen all marching in a row. Stupid advertising like drink cum. And just obviously noise pollution from all the sound effects. Tons of sound effects. So that's the end of this issue, quote unquote. We have a little advertisement kind of illustrating this Western style civilization. Just all this stupid stuff you could buy. Quick frozen love. Instant Satori. 1 pound of vision. 1 quart of orgasm. Another blank page. So here's chapter 3. The anal scream. So it says the clockmen were at the final stage in their conquest of the universe, having successfully deployed 2 deadly weapons. And we see these guys, they're all just saying nonsense like, sippity day, ode to Camptown races. But then it says, editor's note, these are not clockmen. Doesn't really tell us who they are, though. So we see more of these guys just saying all silly stuff. Poontang. Stink, baby. Oh, this is so silly. So because of the clockmen's success, the Earth is being choked by structures much like the clockmen themselves. geometric buildings. Here's the clockmen again. Soon they knew the geometric forms, now almost totally covering the globe, would become similar enough to the clockmen themselves to be used as hosts. So the clockmen enter into all these geometric buildings, and they exert even more control over the earth. So basically they want to trample and poison all organic life to death. I don't know what this is. Like 3 feet, 4 stalks. This is like that Googie Wummer guy. Just completely unintelligible graphics. So we see the buildings taken over by the clockmen hosts. And they're going around killing all organic life. Is this how it all will end? That's what the other narrator says. And then we see this one flower that looks all wilted, and it kind of gets enervated. And it says, God, it was God, I swear. Wow, what vibes. God, yeah, this guy can barely draw, but I really like these 3 panels. That little flow there. Actually, I like a lot of this guy's stuff. He really can't draw in the technical sense of the word, but he has so many panels that I love. So we see these 2 randos, and they're like, hey, that looks like the cat we've been hearing about. Gotta keep our eyes on this cat. Word of the mysterious stranger spread. So everyone's talking about this mysterious stranger. Oh, look at this guy. Weirdo. Everyone's talking about him. There's a buzz about him. People are arguing. No, he's a saint, I tell you. Fuck off, baby. He's some kind of ethnic stud. I don't even know what that means. But I love this little character here. That crazy design. So everyone starts following him almost as if he's a messiah. This heavy cat, if you will. I think he does more like interesting stuff, like kind of fun, playful stuff. Who was the mysterious stranger? Editor's note. Psst, over here. Read this backwards. And when you do, it says see next panel. And then we find out who it is. Of course, this guy is our narrator, who was stuck in his own dimension, in a state of Wu Sin. Somehow escaped the existential void. We wish we could tell you how he did it. We'd like to know ourselves. So he said that he's ready, and he's ready to free everyone from the psychic trap sprung by the evil clockmen. And everyone's all like, right on, tell it like it is. He says there's only one power left on earth which can break their grip on our minds. The power lies within you. It is the raw and primal force of the anal scream. And he lifts up his smock or whatever it is, his robe. Says, take a deep breath. And now... And it's this massive fart. And that's how the clockmen were defeated. And it seems to be rocking all these buildings to their foundations and demolishing them. So dumb, but of course, I'm pretty dumb, so I like it. And then we have a little kind of afterword, untold eons later. And we just see these mutants. And fart is almost like it's become like a monument. The sound effect of fart. Let's not kid ourselves. This is how it will really end. Which I don't understand at all. But I do like these mutants. So there you have it, guys. The Time of the Clockmen by Bob Hunter. Another kooky, bizarro underground comic. Only that era could unleash such inanity onto an audience. I'm sure they made like 10,000 copies of this comic, you know? And, but there was a lot of stoned hippies out there who probably would have eaten this up. Yeah, I gotta find more articles about this comic, some kind of information, but yeah, I know it sounds crazy. It looks so crappy, this comic. You know, I bought it because it was really cheap, because I love Underground so much. I'm now buying stuff that doesn't even look appealing. I'm just like, yeah. To be honest, though, that Googie Wommer comic we looked at a couple weeks ago, I passed that over in bins for years. Just like, oh, what the fuck is this? And finally I bought it, and I was very happy I did, because it's just bizarro. And this one looks even less appealing. I mean, this guy doesn't have the chops of Wendell Allen Pugh. But man, I do like the cut of his jib. Pretty funny stuff, pretty fun ideas, and sometimes just his crappy art becomes sublime. I'll show it off one more time. Maybe I'll get a back tattoo of this. I love that. That is so good. That is just like a great page. Could be like Greg Irons or something. Really beautiful surrealist shit. So there you have it, guys. I'm curious if I get any comments on this, what you think. Yeah, it's pretty crude, but also I enjoy the shit out of it. So hope you at least found it interesting to watch this video, even if you're never going to buy this comic. And also, I hope to see you next time here at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.